Welcome, Sociology 320 Organizational Behavior. I'm going to talk to you today about how to do research so you can do your in-class and discussion posts and everything you need to know about research to be successful in this course. My name is Rhonda Kitchens. I'm your faculty librarian. I'm always glad to help you. You can bounce ideas off of me, ask me questions. As you may know, there are no stupid questions. They're all wonderful questions, and it's a great opportunity for you to work with the library and for us to show you what we have. I want you guys to move on out into the larger world and be really fantastically successful. And one of the great ways to be able to do that is to be able to do research, understand it, measure, evaluate it, and hey, let's enjoy it a little bit while we're there. So what I'm going to be going over will be these things. I'm going to talk about search strategies. You may not have heard of all of these, and some of these I use every week, and they're very, very effective, especially when you're trying to get down to that very specific information. We're going to talk about information evaluation. This is really important. We got to look at all the different ways that we can look at something, because while certainly we're looking for information with authority, we also want to become and act with authority when using our information. Additionally, I'm going to give you some recommended resources. I'm going to make sure you know how to get past the paywall into the free resources that the library pays for on your behalf. That's right, no more asking you money or saying you can only read something because you read something 5 times. We're going to get past that. And I'm going to do some brief demonstrations. It is my hope that these help you with not just this course, but your time at Big Bend Community College and beyond. So let's talk about search strategies. These are 3 that I use on most weeks. And these can either expand or condense or focus your search. You can also use these on Google. I know I'm going to be showing you some wonderful behind the paywall, past the paywall, because the library is paying your subscription and you could read those newspapers as many times as you want. You still may use Google, and they're also effective there. So here we go. First thing I want you to understand is truncation. With truncation, you use an asterisk, and you use it at the most common point of the word before it becomes other things. It may be plural, multiples, different tenses, or different uses of a word. And when you kind of search for all the forms of it, your search can improve immensely. And you might not have been able to find something with talent, but when you use something like talented, it opened it up. And what you do is you go back to the common letter where they're all kind of alike, in this case it's talent, and put the asterisk after it so that it gets talent, this word, talents, and talented. Also a word you might want to look at because it's in the name of your course, organization. It could be organized, organizes, organized, organizing, and I should have added organization. And what you'll do is find that common letter that's in each one of the forms of the word, and you'll include that and put an asterisk afterwards, and it gets all the important suffixes that you may be looking for. And this will absolutely change your research and your search results in a positive and delightful way. So the next thing is phrase searching, and sometimes students don't understand what this can do for you, but what it does is it keeps your search term together. Your phrase could be in a research piece. One word could be in the title, another word could be in the last paragraph. But when you're searching things like organizational behavior, you actually want something that says organizational behavior. So you put it in quotes. Career development. Business ethics is an awesome one to put in quotes, because so often you might find something that of course has business in it and then it has ethics, but if they're not together, it may not be the search that you need to get the search results you require. So this sometimes will tighten up your search. This will expand it. This will tighten it up to make sure you're getting the phrase that you're actually using. And finally, this one will help you out a great deal as well. It uses Boolean logic. It uses these search operators and, or, and not. And generally when you use them, and you can use them in Google, you will capitalize and, or not to signal to the search device that it is a word that is a search operator. Now, what you'll do, you'll use and to find out how two different subjects overlap. In their search results, you want to be the overlap. So you would say something like organizational behavior, and absolutely you can put it in quotes, and ethics. And you could do and business ethics as well. Or it's a great way of finding something that has many different like synonyms. There's like different words for something. Sometimes like advertising, marketing, and branding. Sometimes while they're somewhat different or totally different based on the decade you're working in, they also may be a lot of the same thing. And you might want to have those items inside your research. And so what you would do is connect them, like marketing or advertising or branding. In this case, teamwork and collaboration. Sometimes these words bring up similar types of articles about people working together. And if that's what you want to find, teamwork or collaboration would add to your search. And finally, sometimes your search will have things in it you do not know why they're in it, and you want to get rid of them. It's crazy. Like, how did that happen? An example of that would be if I was doing a search on Florida plants, like a garden. But if I did the search, I would come up with Florida nuclear plants. I may not want that. So in my search, I would use not. Florida plants, not nuclear. And the way you might want to do this is if you're something organizational behavior has different types, maybe you don't want to read things that are specifically about an industry, or in this case, industrial. So those are 3 of the hottest tips that you can use in your search. If you really can't find something, look at your keywords and see if you can find a way to truncate them. Phrase searching. If you have too many things, is there a phrase you can use to narrow it down? And finally, you're really trying to pinpoint something and you need less, a little more, or try to get rid of it. Boolean searching is the tool for that. There are actually quite a few different evaluation methods for your research that are out there. And you might have found 5 articles that are good for your discussion posts, but why don't you pick the best one? And why don't you not pick the first 5 that come up in the search, which is a bad habit people have. Do you know 90% of the people don't get past the first page of Google searches? Yeah, don't be that person. Keep looking and try to find the thing that meets your research criteria very specifically and powerfully. Now, CRAP is one method. Sometimes you'll see it with 2 A's, and I included both of them. And the other methods would be SIFT, which is more of, I think, a true crime approach. I'm going to leave that in there. And just critical thinking, when, what, where type of thing. And I've kind of put them all together into the CRAP sort of structure. So, first of all, make sure that you have the date ranges you need. You're working in business, you might only want the past 2 years. If you're trying to do a comparative analysis, you may only want things from the 80s to compare to things in the 2010s or whatever you may be using. So when you're building your search, this will be something you use, the currency. And also sometimes there might be something called a seminal work. And that's a work where things changed everything. For instance, in sociology, one of the issues was the sociological imagination. And it was written in the 50s. And sometimes you'll always see this article in different types of sociology items. And it doesn't matter that it's from the 50s. It's one of the most well-regarded, cited pieces. Or in some cases, as time went on, it was also cited so that people could say that that wasn't necessarily true and move on. So, relevancy and rubric for R. First of all, does your research answer your research question? And this is really important. Sometimes when students do research, they use one of the first 5, but do those 5 actually correlate? One of our great databases, Proquest, routinely, I think the only good pieces start coming up around number 10 in your search results. So make sure you actually review it and review it in full text. Do not use something you cannot find the full text for. Ask the librarian, we'd be glad to find it for you, but make sure you never work from an abstract. Now the rubric is really important because the rubric also tells you how to do your search. You may need specific information formats. If your professor asks you for a scholarly article, do not bring them a blog post from Google. If they need something that's peer-reviewed, Our search databases have ways to make sure you can find those quickly and easily. If it's a newspaper, you probably need the full text. We have Newsbank. Make sure you use that. And if it asks you for business weeklies, identify those names, and we can go through and do a publication search to figure out where they may be. For this particular thing, I've already done that for you, and I've pulled out Inc. and Harvard Business Review. Authority. Who are the authors? What's their reputation? And this is where your Google comes in really handy. Who are they? Have they had work retracted? Is their reputation sound? Are they on something like quack.org? Can you not be embarrassed when you use this in a larger area and people question you about your research? Are you going to be able to say this person was the strongest person you could find for that particular presentation? Make sure it's accurate. Like, how can you do that? Because some of us are like newbies at these different topics. But even as a newbie, try to figure out where their claims come from. Do they have information backing up what they're saying? Do they have a bibliography that tells you where all this information came from? Is it up to date? Are you reading something in 1921 and you look at the bibliography and things were from last century? Maybe that's not the best article. Also, make sure it is credible. Make sure that the scientific study has enough subjects. Who did they include and exclude? Did they go through and show you transparently how they arrived at the conclusions that they have? Now, purpose. Make sure when you're looking at the information, figure out what the purpose may be. Is this person making money from this event? Are there secondary resources, and are they actually calling on interviews with and bringing information from sound resources? Because that's really very important. What is it trying to do? If it's trying to make it an emotional pill, it may have some use to you, but you need to understand what that is, and you might want to include other formats like newspapers or scholarly articles and other types of research to support your point. So, I think that covers that section. Now, use this criteria and concepts to also write a substantive synopsis. So, is it current? Go through and work on it. This is a way you can summarize something without plagiarizing and being able to use your own words in your own analysis, even if you're really new at this type of research. It will make it very clear, and you should be able to meet a word count with no problem. For this course, I have built a special place and linked you straight to many journals. And I'll show you that at the end of the presentation because I want to make sure you understand how to use the library's resources. And so we'll go through those pieces, and I'm going to do kind of some fake searches. If it's too fast or if you ever have any questions, it's always great just to ask your librarian. I may mention something that worked so wonderful for this presentation, but then when you used it, it was not wonderful. So talk to me and we'll figure out why. Sometimes another database or another set of keywords would be the way to go. So when you go into the library, when I talk about going behind the paywall, we have paid for a variety of subscriptions for you. So you're not going to get you have no more reads of this particular newspaper left, or you found the perfect research article and they want $40 for you to read it. Make sure you come here or come to the library, a library or librarian, and we'll be able to help you out because we'll make sure you have that full text because you never ever want to work from an abstract. So here we are. When you go in and sign in, this screen will come up, and this is something people commonly do. And it does have a little help piece on it. Do not use @bigbend.edu. Just use the part before your email. And your password is the same thing it would be on Canvas or any other place in the campus. The only oddity here is don't use the @bigbend. Just do that. And we have this helpful piece there to keep you reminded of that item. And finally, I want to show you that I'll show you when we're going through the library page. We have a help on every page, and it can be found over on the right hand side. It will slide out if you're inactive, and it'll say ask a librarian, do you need help? Who are you? And it's going to come out 24/7 on most days and nights. And sometimes if you work really late, you'll be talking to somebody from Australia or Great Britain, and they will be able to answer your reference questions in many occasions just as well, and very interestingly as we do. I'd like to say that. So if you ever find you're working at 2 a.m., in the morning, you can still get library help. It may not be us locally, but we do check the chats in the morning. So if you were told something that wasn't necessarily true, we'll get with you and let you know something better. Just try to make sure that you got helped out. So make sure you understand every library page has a help place for you, and you can use it too in the morning. This is the bigben.edu page. To go to the library, go to Academics, select the drop-down box. Whoops, kind of went too far. And click on Library, and this is our page. This top part, if you need to pick up something or have us do some printing or other things, this is the form to use to be able to get computers as we have them, textbooks as we have them, and things of that nature. This sort of highlights some things that we're doing. You'll see that we have BAS resources separated out, so you can go to that page, and I'll show you the page I built specifically for you. But I'm going to start you out with the library catalog. Now, the library catalog has all the things. Well, most of the things. It actually doesn't search all of the databases. But let's go here and look for business ethics. I'm going to search a really big piece here. Business ethics. I just want you to see how this looks. So this is going to find the books that are on campus, and it's going to find some, not all, of the online things that are inside of some of the databases, not 100%. So make sure that you understand that. So if you want to get to a book, you see this is available on campus. You can come in to the campus to check it out or ask us to put it in a pickup service for you. That's a perfectly good thing to do. If you see that it's available online, you click on Available Online, and in most cases, it's going to connect you to the database, full text availability, and this should take you through. This is where you do the sign in, and we just discussed that just a little bit previously, but this is what it looks like. Sometimes it may be a little slow, but it's going to pull us through, and this is going to put us in an EBSCO ebook, Business Ethics, A Critical Approach. You'll see you have all these different chapters that you can get to. I love this part, search within. I'm just going to put on bank. I don't know if it'll come up, but you can search for words or keywords that are useful, and it's going to take you to the page where that word or idea appears so that you don't have to necessarily read the entire book, but go to the sections that are useful for you. Now you're thinking, oh man, it's going to be difficult to cite an ebook. Really, not that much. There's not much to it. In this particular course, you're going to be using APA. The rule is to copy it and correct, and I am going to put an APA link on your page for you. And you'll see this will be the type of reference you'll use. So I hope that was helpful. So I'm going to go back to the main page. The library catalog can do a lot of things for you, but it doesn't search the databases as specific as you might think it does. For business, we have some of the best bets set up for you. So what I did was go to databases A to Z, then I went up to subjects, I picked business, and we're going to have these pieces here. This is going to help you search companies. This is going to help search company information, industry information. It contains Inc. on full text, which is one of the things you'll be using in your course, and it also contains Harvard Business Review. This is specific to trade and industry, and here Proquest One Business is our very new database, and it is extremely lovely. It has case studies, it has SWOT analysis, it has all the things that you would need. You can search things like the NAICS, SIC codes, and a number of things, but here I just want you to sort of look at it to see what it looks like. You'll see I'm doing business ethics. I'm going to put business ethics in a quote, so I'm going to search it as a phrase. And I'm just going to go ahead. There's other things you can do down here, but I like just jumping right in with something kind of large, and then I could narrow it down in the different ways. So you can see business ethics came up together, and that is the power of the phrase search. It doesn't search them in different places, and it goes specifically to a place that has them together. Here you can select full text if you want to, and please do, because sometimes you're in a hurry, but if you can't find the full text, ask the librarian. We'll be glad to look for you. If you need to use a scholarly journal article, you can select this section as well. But be aware that you're searching scholarly journals, but you still need to know what a scholarly article is. I do have that on the BAS resources page, but essentially it's usually over 5 pages. It's produced by people. You can see who they work with. It's a high level of transparency. You can identify the authority and accuracy pretty quickly between who the people are and who they're associated with and their bibliography that you can review. So when you look in at these particular things, and it's talking about ethical perceptions and consumer participation, you'll see the full text piece here that you'll be able to read. Remember, you're always going to work from the full text and not the abstract, so make sure you're able to read these. Some of the scholarly articles may be a little intense at first, but sometimes if you read them backwards, starting with a conclusion and then go back up, it's a lot easier to read. The introduction is a wonderful place, especially when you're trying to understand a topic. It tells you what they read and where, and kind of summarize why they're using it in their research. So those are some of the things that make it a scholarly article, but I invite you to come to a webinar or read one of our tutorials about what they are if you need more information. Over here is related items, and this is really nice. This is like the Netflix of databases. It sees something you like, and if you like this, you may also like these things as well. Additionally, if your keywords are not that sharp and you're trying to add some more in, it will give you some of those as well. So I'm hoping that will be helpful for you. It's our brand new database. So now I'm going to take you to your special page and show you what that looks like. Your page should be linked in Canvas, but just in case it's not, I want to show you where it is. We have a page we're building, BAS resources for our bachelor degrees, and I'm going to come here. There will be class guides of all kinds, including yours. This will be the video that I'm working on right now. It will not be a first draft. It's going to be the real deal. So what I put over here was the things you most likely will be using in class. And these I've connected already. I've set them up to be a search where you just go in and search this particular journal. See, I already have the journal set up, and then you can select full text, and then you could put in another keyword. We'll just put in business ethics. This is from 1985 to more current pieces, sorry. See if this comes up. It may be too many words. We'll see. So we have 10,000 articles, and we put in this information and reduce it to none. And I want to show you that because sometimes less is more. And it may be that business is redundant because we're searching a business piece. So you might consider that as well. So this gives some of the articles. It lets you know how many pages there are. And down here, if you need something more current, you can use the slider to pick things that are newer than the others. So you can reorganize down to 22 pieces. And should you use this article, let's go in. I want to show you that it has a place. And Proquest has this as well on the upper right hand side. This one's a little bit easier. Well, not as easy to see. Over here where it says Cite, it will give you some suggestions in APA. I always say copy and correct it, but this is, well, the title needs to be capitalized in a different way. But this is close. It'll get you started. So copy and correct this for your APA and then go in and fix it before you turn it in. You can email and print this for yourself and other things as well. So this is how your particular page is set up. Ink is set up the same way. I was talking about Proquest and Business Source Elite, so I went ahead and put these on your page. If you're wanting to work more in depth at a higher level or look at how journals, research, and academia are treating those different topics, you can bring them up and do some searches in here. They have case studies and research and things of all kinds, many of which are peer reviewed. Then if you just need a general database, sometimes you might need a little bit more psychology or other topics. These two are the strongest ones. They cover everything from astronomy to zoology, and they are awesome. And I put over here, in case you're looking for the the keywords or understanding what you're working on, I put the learning outcomes and some of the discussion from your syllabus about this project. And you might be able to lift some things from there if you need to kind of reacquaint yourself with what you're doing here and what's really important. I'm going to change this so you'll be able to go to each chapter. You may have heard some of my presentations before. Here, you could just get to the parts that will have meaning for you. And I'll also add the slideshow. And I will put also, if you need to get a hold of me, how to get in touch with me. Here is that main page, the BAS page, just from the libraries page. I have a piece on how to find and identify scholarly articles. So if you see in your rubric or your course assignment you need to do that and you don't know what that means, this will show you definitely. In fact, I don't think you'll be able to forget it. And we also have some other resources. And here is the happy pieces on every page. Ask a librarian. It'll slide out. You can put chat now and I'd be able to connect and work with someone immediately. So, and that's how I love to end this. When you have questions, ask a librarian. Remember, we're really excited about research. We want to support you. We know you've been working on some different things. We'd love to collaborate and talk to you about what you're working on. It's really a great thrill for us to work with students, and we want you to be successful in this course and all the courses you're going to take down the line. So have a good day. And if you have any questions, that's right, ask your librarian.